Okay, so today we are going to learn how to use the Sony A7 II. Now the Sony A7 II is a great camera that can handle photo and video of your liking, whatever you're looking for. It's a great all-round starter camera. This camera has been since replaced with the A7 III and the A7 IV at the time of this video, but today we're going to work with the A7 II. Now the A7 II is a 24 megapixel full frame camera. It has image stabilization inside the camera itself, so a lot of its lenses don't have stabilization built into the lens. It's actually done inside the camera, which is different from what you would see normally with, say, Canon. It has 117 autofocus points. It also has an electronic viewfinder, meaning you can take a picture and instead of just looking at it on your screen, you can actually look right here into the viewfinder like this and it will pop up. Also has audio inputs and a microphone. So you've got a microphone input and headphone jack on the side of this camera, as well as a micro HDMI out, which is also important. So if you want to record to an external recorder, or if you want to just simply plug this into a TV or a monitor, you can do that with this as well. So that's important. The biggest thing I think on this camera is that it has an audio jack. So you can put a shotgun mic on here or lapels on here. So you can get nice clean audio directly into the camera. That's important to have there. This does allow you to record in many different codecs, including S-Log2. A7 III on up also allow you to now record in S-Log3. This goes up to S-Log2. S-Log is a flat picture profile, so if you want to really work the color grade to your liking, you'll definitely want to record in something flat like log. So S-Log2 is available on the A7 II. Again, this is a deal for photo and video, and it's excellent. It's an excellent all-round system, well balanced for photography and videography. And you can actually interchange these lenses. There's a button here on the bottom right of the lens. If you push that in and then turn your lens, you can actually take the lens off like so. And you can see this is a full frame sensor. And then to put the lens back on, align up the white dot with the white dot, turn it to the right until you hear it click. Okay, and we've got a bunch of lenses in the studio that can go on the A7 II. So with that, let's dive into the menu system and the buttons around the camera and get to know this camera a bit more. What I'm going to do is just press menu. You can see there's no SD card in there right now. And I'm just going to jump up here real quickly. And I'm using the dial system on the back, like the thumb dial, that has display ISO and whatnot. You can just press up, left and right and down. And then the center button is what you use to select what you want. So here I am on the left side in menu 1 in the camera icon there, and you can see if I arrow down, I've got 9 different options. Now I'm currently in video mode, so image size doesn't matter here. Okay, if I was to go into photo mode, I can change my image size, aspect ratio, file type, RAW to JPEG, things like that. So file type compressed, uncompressed, RAW. If you're shooting photos in class, I would definitely try to shoot RAW as much as possible. If it's a sporting event, maybe go to JPEG because you're probably going to be snapping a lot of pictures and filling up that buffer real quickly. But if you can shoot RAW, that's definitely the way to go, because then you can actually edit them a little bit more in post. So if you need to maybe scale them up a little bit or adjust the color, adjust the brightness, whatever it is, you can do that more in Photoshop when you get there. If it's a JPEG, you're kind of stuck and you're limiting yourself. It's very compressed on a JPEG, so it's better to shoot RAW whenever possible. Okay, so that's that one. Let's go to number 2. File format and recording. So here's the video section. So page 1 is for photos, page 2 is for video. So we got file format for video, record settings, 60p instead of 30p, or 24p. I can go here, XAVC-S, which is your highest quality, XAVC HD, standard quality, MP4 is low quality, dual record, video record off. We'll just leave that off, that's fine. And then let's see here, 3. We don't really have to deal with this so much because we're going to do deal with this more so in your quick menus on the back. For the same thing here. 5, creative styles. Now, creative style is set to neutral right here, or we could choose standard. These are kind of like your presets, I would say. Your creative styles I would use maybe if you're doing photos and you really want to just like kind of bake in your style. So if you like have something that's oversaturated or have some color added to it, it's automatically going to do that with you. It's automatically going to bake that in. So I generally keep this at neutral or standard. I don't really use these also too much because I like to be able to color grade my images as you know after the fact. Picture effects off. Keep that off. Picture profiles. Now this is a little bit different. Picture profiles are primarily for video. So if I come down here to say PP, I think this goes to 7. Yes, 7. And I come over, and there's my S-Log2. And there's my color mode cinema. I could change this to S-Gamut or still or pro, whatever I want. But I'll just leave it at S-Log2 and cinema. So if I know that's a preset that I have for video, so I know, hey, I want to shoot this flat. I could even drop the saturation down if I wanted to. But if I want to shoot that flat, I could just do that real quickly there, boom. And if I have all the cameras set up like that, I know it's real quick and easy to go. So hey, I could be, if I'm working with a team and I've got multiple cameras like this, I could say, hey, switch that camera to picture profile 7. Make sure you're shooting in S-Log2 with a cinema color format, and maybe drop your saturation or increase your saturation, whatever you have on that camera. That should match them up. All right, 6. This is really cool. The cool thing about this one is it has smile and face detection, and this is what really turned me on to Sony, was that their face detection options. So like their autofocus at some time, I mean, right now it's really competitive when it comes to autofocus, but their autofocus at one point was way far superior to Canon and the others. So face and smile detection is really cool. You can record take a picture of your subject and record it as a preset. And so then every time you take a photo and that person's in it, their face will automatically be in focus before everybody else's. So you can set a hierarchy to your subject matter in your photos. That's part of the face detection and things like that. But you can see there's face detection. There's your face detection registration faces. Or you can just turn it off. So that's where you register your faces under that registration. All right, 7. We're not going to touch on this one. 8. Audio settings. So audio settings, audio recording. Definitely make sure that's on. Audio record level. You can see my audio record levels here. I can adjust it if I want to, if it's too loud or whatever, recording into the camera. Let's jump back to menu. There we are. Wind noise reduction on. I like to keep this on. It kind of helps with some of the extra noise or the ambient noise in the room. And then memory. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to deal with 9. Now let's jump to the gear. And here I'm going to look at tabs 1 and 2. So here we've got, in this gear, we've got a lot of tools that we can use. So we've got zebras, for instance. It will tell you if it's too bright. That's what the zebra is. If it's too bright, you're going to get a zebra pattern. You've got grid lines, rule of thirds. There's different options, rule of thirds, square grids, diagonals, or you could turn them off if you don't want them. You've got, let's see here, what else? Let's go to 2. Audio level display is on. I like to keep that on because it tells me, hey, I have audio rolling. I'm not missing something. Peaking level is good to have. I might leave that one on or at mid. That just tells me this is what's in focus. If you've worked with the Blackmagic at all in our classroom or in our studio, we have a peak button there that we hit to make sure that our subjects are in focus, because that one is run on manual focus. It's definitely helpful for there. You can turn it on and off if you want, but I like to keep that on. And that's all we're really going to touch on that one. Again, there's like 5 other options here that we can go through if we wanted to. But right now, I'm just going to leave that alone. Let's go to wireless settings. So this is if you want to send an image to your smartphone, to your cell phone from the camera. You just have to pair it up. That's what you can do here. I usually leave this off for the school. Briefcase, let's jump all the way over to briefcase. We don't need the application list. We're going to leave that one alone. This is playback. Self-explanatory. Play, watch it, delete it, keep it, whatever. Finally, the briefcase. So this is the briefcase deals with system settings and what you're doing within the camera. So on this one here, you're going to have audio signals on. Well, while this is good to have on, I like to keep it off. And this is why. A lot of times I'm shooting an event, and if I'm shooting, say, a keynote, or I'm shooting a speaker in the PAC, in the auditorium, I don't want to have my camera ding every time I half press that focus to take a picture. So if you think about it, every time I take a picture, it's going to go dee-dee, and then click. Dee-dee, click. If I hit record, it's going to go dee-dee, and start recording, and I hit stop, dee-dee, it'll make that sound every time, and that can be distracting. If you could imagine someone at a wedding taking, or even at like a big corporate event where you're taking 1,500 photos a day and you have that audio signal on, you're hearing those sounds 1,500 times within that day, it would get annoying. So while it's good to say, it's good for you to, when you're starting, be like, okay, yeah, I took that picture because I heard that sound. Turn that off. So I'm going to keep that off on this particular camera. You've got monitor brightness and things like that. All right. Let's go all the way over to number 5. So I'm going to skip all this other stuff. A lot of it has to do with HDMI settings for like outputting, which we're not going to deal with really right now. Remote controls, USB connections, we don't need any of that. We may have to set the date and time at some point if it's been a while since this camera's been used and the battery's drained. But that's going to be far from few. All right, so 5 is all about format, file number, set file name, and all of that. So format, this is the one you'll probably use the most. You're going to come in here, hit menu, jump over to the briefcase, go down to number 5, and choose format. Obviously, there's no card in this camera right now, so it's going to be disabled. But this is where you format your SD card. Always format your SD card before you start recording. This allows the camera to wipe anything else that's on there that we don't need. Plus, it also formats it in case there might be a bug or a glitch on the SD card. It kind of reformats it for the camera, so it's more stable, and you're better off and ready to go for your event. So definitely, every time you grab a camera, plug an SD card in it. Unless otherwise instructed, go to menu, down to 5, hit format, and format this card. Okay, you can set your file name if you want to, file folder name, that sort of thing. So there you go. There is the menu system for the Sony A7 II. Enjoy.